Good morning. We've been looking this past week at finding trig ratios in order to find side lengths and angle measurements in right triangles. However, we need to be able to do that in any triangle. So today we're going to look at the law of sines, which will help us find side lengths and angle measurements for any triangle. So, given triangle ABC, this triangle here, the sine of big A, and remember we put an angle with our sine, and the little a is going to be our side measure, equals the sine of B, which is an angle measure, over little b, which is a side length, equals the sine of C, of course, angle measure, and little c, side length. So what that means is it sets up a proportion for us in order for us to be able to solve correctly. Okay, so number one, we have two angle measures and technically two side lengths, even though we're looking for one. So we have this angle and this angle. We have this angle and this angle. Now, I want you to notice that in this triangle here, where we were saying sine A goes over, and we're looking here, over little a, the corresponding side is the side that is across from the angle or opposite the angle. Same thing with C. Big C corresponds with the opposite side, little c, and big B angle corresponds with little b side. Okay? So it's always the angle that is across that goes with it. So let's look here. We have 71. Now all of these are sine. So we're going to do the sine of 71. Right, if you notice, the opposite side length is x, so it goes over x, equals the sine of 35, and its side length is the opposite of it, which is 12. Now, if you notice up here, we had 3. If we're looking here, we had 3. You only need 2 sets to be able to set up a proportion. Remember, a proportion is 2 fractions that are equal to each other. So, now we can cross multiply anytime we have a proportion. So we get sine 35 times x. So I'm just going to say x sine 35 equals the sine of 71 times 12, which is 12 sine 71. Now, as long as you can solve a one-step equation, you can solve this. We're trying to get x by itself, so we need to divide by sine 35. Okay, so that's going to cancel this out, and x is going to equal whatever 12 times sine 71 divided by sine 35 is. 12 times sine 71 divided by the sine of 35. And those are just going straight into your calculator, and you should get 19.8. Okay? Let's look at number 2. Same setup, we got 2 angles and we're looking for a side length. So let's just start with 18. Its opposite side is 5. So we're going to say the sine of 18 over 5 equals, and then our other angle, the sine of 114, and its side length is x. Okay? Anytime you set up a proportion, you can solve it by cross multiplying. So that's x times the sine of 18 equals 5 times the sine of 114. Okay, and again, your next step is to get x by itself, so we divide by sine 18 to get rid of it. So it leaves us with x equals 5 times the sine of 114 divided by sine 18, which gives you 14.8. All right, let's look at one more of those. We're given 59 degrees, so the sine of 59, its opposite side, which goes with it, is x. Then you got 73, so the sine of 73, and its opposite side is 20. We have a proportion, so we cross multiply 20 times sine 59 equals x times sine 73. So to get x by itself, we divide by sine 73. And then you put that into your calculator. So 20 times the sine of 59 divided by the sine of 73 equals 17.9. Okay, so that's how you set up all of the problems where you are looking for a side length. So let's look at the back. Complete. 4, 5, and 6. Now, if we're finding angle measures, we're going to set it up the same way. So, let's just use our x first. So we're doing the sine of x. Its corresponding side is 9 equals the sine of 77, and its corresponding side is 14. Okay, now, from here, it's a little different. So we need to multiply by 9 to get the sine x by itself. I'm just going to put that 9 in front because it's multiplying over 14. So now remember, when we are finding an angle measure, which is what we're looking for here, we're going to use the inverse sign, okay, which is sine of -1. So on your calculator, you're hitting shift, sine, and then you can put in 9 times 77 divided by 14. Or 9 times sine of 77 divided by 14. And you should get 38.8 degrees. Sorry, the fire alarm was going off in the school. Alright, so let's look at number 10. Again, we are finding an angle measure. So we're going to say the sine of x, find its corresponding side, which is 15, equals, then we're looking at angle 126, so the sine of 126 over its corresponding side, which is 31. Alright, we have a proportion set up. We can cross multiply. 31 times the sine of x equals 15 times the sine of 126. Okay, get rid of that 31. And we have the sine of x equals 15 times sine 126 divided by 31. Okay, so anytime you're looking for an angle measure, which is when it has sine x, cosine x, whatever, then you are using the inverse sign. So shift sine, and it's going to open up your parentheses, 15 times the sine of 126. I would close that parentheses, divided by 31, and close that parentheses. And you should get 23 degrees. And remember, angle measures in degrees. Alright, let's do one more of these together. They're all set up the same way. So let's do the sine of x. Its corresponding side is 21 equals sine of 61. And its corresponding side is 24. So 21 is on bottom here, so we need to multiply by 21 on both sides. So that's going to give us the sine of x equals 21 times the sine of 61 over 24. So looking for an angle measure, so we do inverse sine, so shift sine, 21 times the sine of 61, close that parentheses, divided by 24, close the beginning parentheses, and x equals 49.9 degrees. Okay, you finish the 6 that we did, and 12, 13, 14. Hope you have a great day.